Hello, everybody. Welcome to Snap Take. I'm Glazer of the Snap Nurses podcast. And before we go any further, like and sub for the best Marvel Snap Takes every single weekday. Today, we got to talk about Jeff. Ah, shit. Sorry. No. We have to talk about Stegron. It's Stegron. Stegron's the new card, right? Not Jeff. Jeff was last week. Much more exciting card, Jeff. Stegron's cool, but he's not blowing up anyone's bank unless you're willing to get in every card. There's not a huge reason to get Stegron. Good card, not busted card. Cool. That's the original take. We'll get more into Stegron later on in the episode. But what you need to know for now is tomorrow I'm going to give you decks that will get you to infinite for every collection level. I'm going to go pool 1 to pool 2, early pool 3, mid pool 3, late game, just finishing pool 3, and end game. I'm going to give you a deck for each of those levels. The single deck, I'm going to look at a bunch of data. The single deck I think you should play that would be the best to get you to infinite if you only have a week left. That's going to be the video for you on Wednesday. Now, I'd like to offer a quick reminder that we are doing a humongous giveaway. You can see it on your screen right now. We're giving away 5. It's actually up to 6. Thank you so much to Marvel Snap Cloud Tweets for offering up one more season pass giveaway, 6 season passes with a grand prize winner. The grand prize winner gets both Nebula and every single token Tuesday of this season. Make sure you check it out. You can see what to do. You follow on Twitter at SnapJudgecast. You like and retweet. You then say your favorite card coming to next season. Nebula, Iron Lad, Howard, Tribunal, and Evolutionary. There's a bunch of other ways to get extra entries if you really want the season pass. They're all in the comments. They're all on Twitter. Next thing I want to do is I want to offer an apology. I talked about this Thanos list. It was called Safety Blade Thanos in yesterday's video. Safety Blade didn't even know where it came from at that point. But even so, there is an awesome YouTuber and Twitch streamer named Revis who actually made this incredibly cool Thanos deck and then also made a video talking about it and playing it. It's Revis Marvel Snap. You can see it right down here. See Revis Marvel Snap. Only 85 subs is a sin. This is one of the better Marvel Snap players and cooler creators out there. Go give him a sub. You can watch more about that awesome Thanos deck right here. Cool. Next up, we're ready to talk Stegron. Stegron is a 4/5 on reveal. Move an enemy card here to another location. And I'm going to explain to you why I think this card is just fine. First of all, it looks like a Juggernaut with more flexibility. But what it is a Juggernaut with a little less flexibility. First, to make it a 3/5, you'd need Zabu. A 4/5 is really expensive. You want to play this generally on one of the last turns of the game to mess up your opponent's plans. That's a problem, given that it's really expensive. So, Zabu. 4/5 at that point is really great. Problem is, it's a completely random enemy card to a completely random location. Yes, the card could have been played already, it could have been placed already. And if they're only going to drop one card in a location, that's really good. But we're not in the Red Skull meta anymore, and that's not how the game is played right now. Juggernaut's ability to take, for example, 3 or 4 cards that are played on that last turn and chuck them wherever he wants is instead much, much better. A couple days ago, I've been playing a lot of Surfer. I used to Juggernaut the last turn to throw 4 opponent cards onto a rickety bridge. Let's just say I won 8 cubes. Stegron will not be doing that. He would have lost me that game even if I had Zabu out. People are like, but Shuri or for if you're for some reason playing Rescue need to be played in that same lane, right? Stegron can mess that up. No, those effects work on play before reveal, and it locks into the lane we're talking about. So Stegron does not actually disrupt those effects the way you'd want him to unless they change something about the coding in the interim. So Stegron's a fine card, right? Like being able to move a card, changing your opponent's plans are really good, and there's certain synergies he has that make him good. There's exactly one synergy that's not in either of the 2 decks we're going to look at today that I think is pretty good, but he's just a kind of mediocre card. Moving opponent's cards is powerful. The hope was that he would be kind of like an extra arrow or like a new arrow if you get to choose which card and where it moved, or even either one. He doesn't do either of those. He's cool, but not great. The first deck we're looking at is from Shad. Shad is at Shad Says over on Twitter. She's a phenomenal Marvel Snap creator, putting together a coaching program that I may end up being a part of. We shall see. Both these decks are fairly similar in concept. What you do with Stegron is fairly linear. This deck is trying to use Stegron on the last turn of the game with Sarah and Arrow. Sarah and Zabu in order to move a card, ideally into a king-pinned lane. Cool. It's got Juggernaut, Arrow, Polaris to continue to do such shenanigans. All these cards in combination basically make it really hard for your opponent to decide what's going to happen where, which gives you the ability to control the board. This is strong. These decks are always strong. I bet you our friend Homeboy Maxwell is going to come up with a really similar version to this. Fundamentally, what it wants to do is drop enough cards everywhere to cause confusion, so your opponent can't have a cohesive game plan, and so you'll win the game. Shad is a brilliant deck builder. This isn't my favorite version. I do, however, really love the Titania because you can screw up your opponent's board position, then pull that Titania back, and push something over there to kill it. It's a really great way to mess with the opponent's board space. Actually, one of the only ways you have. The second one is going to be another friend of the show. This is Explodium Gaming over at Explodium Gaming on Twitter. Explodium is another up-and-coming creator. You gotta check these people out. They are your edge in the metagame. This deck is similar. I like this deck very slightly more. I'm going to explain why. This deck has almost as many fours as one of your classic decks. One of your classic earlier Zabu style decks. But what I really like here is this has got Magneto as a top end. I really like that extra win condition. It ends up being really powerful. Since it's got Magneto, what it does in order to gain extra power is it uses the move in order to empower Spidey. This, as a 1/5, that Spider-Man is extremely strong. You'll note that's the same stat line as the Titania in the previous deck. It's got an extra disruptive element here. The other thing I really like about this deck is Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man and Stegron work reasonably well. It's not running Daredevil, right? So if you drop Spider-Man and they actually have a big card there, they play something there that gets enough power to disrupt your plan, you can drop Stegron there the next turn and ruin that nonsense. Just chuck that card away, win that lane. Pretty decent, right? Cool. The last real thing I'll say about this deck, again, these decks are remarkably similar, is that it's going to be strong. It's going to work well, but it's not going to be tier 1. Stegron is more fun than that. And there's no real way to put enough power, pretend you're a Hit Monkey deck, pretend you're playing against a Sandman deck, so on, to really rock that game. Stegron does have one extra use, however. Stegron's going to be really good in Doom and Wong lanes, like when you want to drop an Odin on a lane or when you want to Wong something up. Stegron will just chuck the first card away, or chuck either card away, and ruin that plan really, really well. Assuming that those are the only two cards in that lane. That is a powerful effect. Again, there's a 3-coster that does that better. Beyond Juggernaut, there's Cosmo. But it is a strong thing to do. Cool. Last thing about Stegron, both of these decks I think could really use. It's much harder to fit in this shell than in this shell. But both of these decks could really use a Kraven. I think Kraven is going to be one of the cards you're really going to want to look into with Stegron. Look at all these different move cards. If you get one into the Kraven lane, you get one of these moves into the Kraven lane. He's a 2/4, which is a little ahead of curve. That's one of the better 2s. You get 2, he's a 2/6, and now he's better than Lizard. I mean, you know how many games Lizard can win you. So what I would do with these, that's what I think the main play, the main call of these cards is. Next up, final thing we're going to talk about today, this guy is Savage Yeti Gaming. Savage Yeti Gaming - Marvel Snap. Occasionally he features stuff like my gameplay, but that ain't why he's here. He's here because this is the dude who's great at math. You want to know whether you should buy a bundle, what the value of the bundle is, cosmetics, and improvement of your collection value. Yeti has you. You gotta watch his videos. Straight up at this point in the game, what I decide to buy is what this man tells me to buy. I strongly urge you to do the same if you could afford it. He's going to give you what his takes are on the best value. Savage 80 Gaming Marvel Snap. It's right here. It'll also be in the show notes. Please, 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 when you have a chance, check him out too. That's today's video. Please make sure you like and sub. Make sure you come over here, you check out the season pass giveaway. And finally, make sure you check back tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm going to tell you how to get to Infinite at the end of this season. Thanks so much. See you tomorrow for another Snap Take.